What would be good to know, and I know this is slightly jumping the gun a bit, but what tools have you got in front of you? As in, have you got a pen? Have you got a pencil? Are you just watching this morning? Are you going to be using a crayon that you found in the bottom of a drawer somewhere? Let me know. It could be a brush pen, it could be a biro, it could be anything. So there's no pressure to have anything fancy with you. Pavin, you've got back, yeah, bullet tip pen and workbook. Brilliant. You're winning. You've got the workbook printed out already. Rachel, you've got your brush pens. No, I would be horrified if you didn't have them as you're in the club. Yeah, Alison, you've got your Pentel brush pens. Great. Ali, workbook and brush pen. Brilliant. If you haven't been able to print off the worksheets, please don't worry, by the way. You can follow along with just a piece of paper. There's going to be a mixture of screens going on. So you should all see the screen share that I've got up at the moment, just to make sure you're in the right place and you're not going, what on earth is going on here? I was supposed to have a 10 o'clock meeting and I seem to be looking at calming calligraphy. So morning, Vivian, welcome, welcome. And then there is two of me. So at the moment, I'm up here. But I also have my hands as well. So I will be showing you down here what I'll be doing as we go through our workbooks and drawing along with you. So don't worry. So any questions, as I say, pop them in the chat, say a quick hello, where you are. What pens, pencils, pen and pencil, great. Yeah, any pen and pencil is fine. It just gives me a gauge of what we've all got with us and if I need to tailor anything specifically. Right, let's get started. I will keep an eye on anybody else joining. So first off, the workbook, just to give you a brief kind of look at this, I've printed it off as an A5, but I've also got an A4 version that is just sort of single-sided. So just to give you an idea of how you don't always have to do it in the same way. You don't have to print the whole workbook off as well if you just want to pick out pages. There are a few pages at the beginning which aren't kind of interactive. Is that the right word? Doing pages. So you may just want to skip those, but sometimes it's nice just having the whole workbook printed off, and especially if you're doing a kind of booklet style, if your printer allows it. You know, it takes me about 3 hours to work out how to get that done. Then it's quite nice to have all the pages and you're not trying to work out how to do it without some of the covers and all of that. So workbook, if you've got it, great. If you haven't, don't worry. Just a piece of paper and follow along with us. A very quick introduction to me. I know some of you know me. You will have done a workshop with me perhaps, or maybe a course, or maybe you've done a similar kind of event with me before where I have just talked you through it. Look, I'm going to come up here. Look how fancy this is. I've only just worked this out, so I'll just get excited about being on your screen in a different way. So yes, you've probably done something with me before in terms of calligraphy. I actually got into calligraphy back in 2017 as I found myself kind of experiencing quite a lot of stress and anxiety, more than usual. And when I was signed off work, one of the things that I found that was really helpful was doing something creative. Just calmed my mind. And coming from quite a creative background, I was always kind of trying to avoid doing lots of art and things that I thought I could never live up to all my family of artists. But turns out there is still this little creative itch that I needed to scratch. And actually, for me, it wasn't about sort of painting or pottery or doing things that required quite a lot of patience, maybe, but actually just something that allowed me to put pen to paper, slow my mind down and just calm and bring me a little bit of a sanctuary. So every evening I sort of set up my space and just did, whether it was 5 minutes or 2 hours sometimes, it really, really helped me calm my mind. So that's a little bit about me. I now run workshops. I have an online club and new people coming through, and all sorts of ways that I can share some of these calming benefits. I'm really passionate about introducing them to other people because it's been such a big thing for me. So this is hopefully going to give you a little bit of a flavour of that today. So to begin with, you will see in your workbook, there's a few introduction pages to me. And then the first page I just want to have a quick look at and talk through very briefly is how to kind of create this sanctuary, how to just get set up. And there's a few things just to think about, which actually, if you don't think about them, it's not a problem, but it just maybe will cut short the session that you want to sit and practice. So thinking about them before you start is a really useful thing. It's just being touch intentional about what you're going to do, how you're going to practice. So the first thing on the screen is your support. So you may be I'm pretty sure you're all at a table, but if you have decided just to vacate to your sofa or somewhere comfortable, that's absolutely fine. You might just want a hardback book or something. So just thinking about the support you've got underneath you, and making sure that you are super, super comfortable, because ultimately you're never going to stay anywhere long if it's not that comfortable. So cushions, blankets, I've said, I know it's not seasonal, but thick, fluffy socks, all of those things when you want to, and just thinking about your comfort and your temperature. Your lighting is a big one for me, and I'm really bad at thinking about it. It's just really easy to forget because often you sit down at a certain point in the day, and if you do spend a little bit of time getting into the creativity of it all, then you suddenly end up in pitch black and trying to stare at your piece of paper. So just thinking a little bit about where you are sat, maybe even having some candles just to create a nice atmosphere if that's what you want to do. So these are lovely ways to just build that environment, that little sort of landscape around you. Soundtrack, obviously music, podcasts, all sorts of things that might be useful in your ear. It's not essential. It just may be that you choose a particular type of music if you want to calm your mind. Maybe, hardcore house music might not be the thing that helps you slow your breathing and slow your mind down. But yes, so just thinking about what you have in the background and you choose what works for you. Having something to drink. So usually my drink of choice is a green tea in the evening. I talk about evenings quite a lot because that's usually when I sit down to kind of do a little bit of calligraphy practice. But I also enjoy a big mug of coffee in the morning as well, just to get my brain going. So have a little think about the time of day and whether you want to have something decaf. So these are all things that I'm sure you think about already, but it's just having them in the forefront of your mind. You didn't think you were going to be thinking about this necessarily when you sat down to do a calming calligraphy workshop, but it all helps. It all adds to that. And then your materials. So your workbook is one thing. Perhaps it's on screen, perhaps you've just got a pencil to hand, anything that's useful. I tend to carry around you can't see it, but a little pencil case of all my kind of essential pens that I think I'm going to use regularly, and they're usually to hand within a room away from me, and I'll throw them in a bag and take them with me when I go out and stuff. So it's handy to just have those pens to hand as you want them. Anything that makes things more convenient is going to make it that much easier. So those are the things that I would think about when we're talking about creative sanctuaries. And then really it's just about getting into mark making. And I don't want you to think, right, we're going to sit down and learn calligraphy and it's really serious and I've got to get this perfect. It's much more about being curious, grabbing a pen, seeing what happens, letting things unfold on the page, especially when we're doing this to just calm our minds and think about things in a completely different way. So yes, there's lots of techniques to pin down, but actually what I want you to do is just connect your mind to your hand to your pen or pencil, and your pen or pencil to your paper. So this lovely little chain of interaction going on. So I'm going to stop this and show you what I'm doing. So let's remove my face. So I think a few of you have got some brush pens. That's great. A few of you have got maybe just a pencil. I'm going to show you a few ways to use different tools, because actually it's not just about brush pens. If you've got one, fab. This is catered for a brush pen style. So you'll see that there's some thicks and thins happening across the top. So with a blunt pencil, you can actually recreate some thicker and thinner or darker and lighter strokes. So you can definitely recreate this. And you can also do some faux calligraphy as well. But if you've just got a single thickness pen or pencil, then have a go at just following the shapes along. Don't overthink the thickness. So printed out in front of you, you've got your reference strokes. These are all the ones in black, so they're not really traceable. They're just showing you the direction that we're going to be going in. Then below, you've got all these sort of grey marks all over the place. And this is what I just want you to have a go at. It's not about following guidelines with this workbook. We are really just thinking about having a go at making marks. So if I was to have a pencil with me, I've got quite a blunt one here. So I'm just pulling the pencil down, quite a firm, thick pressure, and then dragging it up. It's that slow though, so sort of 2 seconds, and then up. And we're just following these along, starting to notice how we're breathing, maybe, if we are breathing. Hopefully we are. So the first few are quite straight, and you'll notice there's a slight bend on this one, because this is the sort of shape that we're going to be doing for our entrance strokes. So it's a really good, these are sort of all the typical drills that you would do before you start any calligraphy session. So a useful collection of shapes to practice with. So that's with a pencil. Maybe you've got just a biro. Let's see if my biro works. So you can even do a kind of thin pressure into thick, or you can thicken up those downstrokes. So just drawing out a second line if you want to. So biro, I've got a felt tip pen here. So again, you can just do a second stroke on those thicker lines. Make sure whatever pen you've got, you're not bleeding through to the paper behind. And if you have got a brush pen to hand, then applying the pressure on and off and on. So these are our underturns and overturns, where we will use these in certain letter forms. Don't worry too much about being perfect around tracing. It's not about perfection. It's really about mark making and noticing how slow you can go. So welcome anybody who's just joining. We're just having a little bit of a go at some of these drills. So making the marks, whatever pen you have got. So maybe it's a pencil, a biro, felt tip pen. or a brush pen. And the challenge for you all is to go as slowly as possible. So I'm switching back to my pencil now. You don't have to switch, but I'm just showing you different ways. So you might want to thicken those up. And just notice if you're holding your breath as you're doing this, that can be quite a challenge. So the pencil can either be recreated. So what I'm doing is this, creating these blocks and coloring them in. Or you can just put a pressure down, thin and thick. It's just a much lighter, slimmer thickness, but you can do a kind of dark, and actually you may even want to blunt your pencil a bit more. So you can really get a thin and thick. And then down the bottom of these ovals, so these are always going to be the trickiest ones, especially if you're applying the pressure here. We've got some closed ovals and some open loop ovals, so these are definitely worth getting your head around, because there's lots of these shapes through in all sorts of letters, like a D or a G. And these are perfect for uppercase O's at the beginning of a word. Just using my biro there. Maybe if you've got a brush pen, just taking it nice and slow. And having a go at some of these drills. Use the chat if you've got any questions. On the other side, I just want you to have a bit of play. So now it's over to you. What can you do in this space? Which shapes can you have a go at yourself? You can mix it up. You don't have to do any particular pattern. Just remembering that all your downstrokes have the thicker ones if you're doing thick and thins, and all your upstrokes are going to be thin. So these downstrokes and upstrokes. And then from then on, you've got them transitioning in here and here and in the middle. So as you're coming through some of these, you might need to adjust your speed. Maybe you want to have a go at going really big. And if you're struggling with these shapes, so around here, just imagine there's sort of balls that you're kind of coming around, little circles that you're bending around. Got my son's Spider-Man, one of these ones with all the colours. I love these. So you can really begin to change that shape. So what often happens is that you get sort of these spiky ones. And what we want to do is open those up. So we're reaching round a nice soft shape. which we're going to be using in our letter forms in a minute. So hopefully you can see my screen again. How's everyone feeling? Let me know in the chat. Are you breathing still, hopefully? Are you feeling a little bit calmer? Are you feeling frustrated? Let me know. There's often a little bit of a mix of frustration of trying to get them really, really perfect. Slowing down can be a real issue, especially when you're running around doing things and you're busy all morning. So just begin to notice what's going on for you. Still breathing. Brilliant. You're still with me, Ali. On to the lovely letter forms. So they are a lovely set of letter forms. I think it's a style that I tend to use. There's lots and lots of different styles of calligraphy out there. So this is just one way. I say that there's actually, you can see there's a few variations of some of the letters. So this is now your chance to bring together some of the strokes that we've just learnt and start to combine them into letter forms. And I want you to think about them as letter forms rather than the alphabet or the letters that you normally write, because we want to separate that sense of handwriting with now the art of calligraphy. So we're going to be tracing through these. There's lots of arrow lines to follow along with, and I really want you to notice those because there's quite a bit of lifting, and that's a big key part of calligraphy. The lifting is really important, but it's also important specifically for this session because we are trying to slow down, and actually the lifting can give us those little points just to pause, just to lift, just to begin the next stroke with real intention. So traceable, all of these, and on the back. And then there's a little bit of space to play on each side. So you may want to write your name, pick out some letters. We've got a nice chunk of time for this bit. And then we will go through and have a go at some words. So we'll see how we get on. We might need to just sort of pick out a few of these words, which leaves you with plenty to do in your own time as well. I thought we could focus on the word summer and do that together, and then pick out a calming word to finish with. So let's have a go. I'm going to come back to my sheet so you can see what I'm doing, if that's useful. Follow along or have a go with whatever tool you have. I'm going to show you with pencil first, and then I'll make my way through my pens that I have with me. So with pencil, you can do that thick stroke, or you can thicken it up yourself. This is just a faux calligraphy style, so it looks like this. So you're recreating the downstrokes. Here is a prime example with our A's. This lowercase a has the oval and the underturn. So 2 separate strokes. Our oval and our underturn. And they just gently touch through the middle here. Our uppercase B has 3 parts to it. And we're lifting, so down, then we add this, then we add this. And we put them all together to create this. If that makes sense. So with the brush pen, you're finding that transition point. And if you're new to brush pens or just beginning to practice with them, just make sure the angle of your pen is coming across the page. That makes a big difference. So you can drag down nicely and pull up nicely. Elbow on the table, paper you might want to just twist to the side. So see how you're doing. With anything like a biro, I would suggest probably doing a faux calligraphy style where you're just creating the shape and then thickening up to fill out those thicker grey marks. Oops. Or leaving them open if you choose to. Equally, you can just do the shape of the letter as well. So this is just a mono line. So no thicks or thins, just following along like this, maybe in the middle of the lines. Bullet tip pens, they can follow along like this. My paper is very thin, so it's all going to come through the other side. The Fs. You'll start to notice some of these areas, maybe some petal shapes coming through. Welcome, welcome, everybody who's starting to join. Don't worry if you're still just catching up. We're just working through letter forms. So really just tracing whether you've got a Spider-Man pen, a pencil, or a brush pen or a biro. Really just finding that speed. Any questions, pop them in the chat. Let me know how you're getting on. Have you all fallen asleep? Are you so calm? You just drifted off. And once you've got through most of your letters here, do take a moment if you want to, just to have a go at maybe putting some letters together. You could put, maybe you've got a pencil with you. And you're just applying the pressure on those down strokes. You see, I'm just lifting every time I create a stroke, a full stroke. So all the way around and lift here, all the way around and lift here, all the way here, lift, all the way around and lift. If you haven't yet started, just have a go on the other side. As I mentioned earlier, there are some variations. So we've got a few different O's, different ways of combining these as they start to connect to other letters. So lots of these have these little exit strokes, thinking about where they're going to go next. So we've got P's, Q's, and then the R's are often one that has a few different variations that you might have known or noticed before. So we've got this closed loop R, sorry. We've got an open loop R. And then we've got this sort of more possibly recognizable contemporary R. So a few different ones there. And same with the lowercase s's. Could do this little loop back, or you can just come in and out without the loop. And then a lot of this is all just down to the design or the style that you're going for. So the V's, you could loop out like this, or you can just do a closed loop into the next letter. So that's the same with the W as well. And right at the end, we've got a couple of Z's. That look different to each other. How are you all feeling now? Any calmer? Is it making sense? Have you thrown your pens away? Let me know. Haven't deep? No, you haven't thrown your pen away, I hope. Or no, you're not getting on with this at all. I'm not sure. Hopefully you started to notice a little bit of your breathing. Maybe you're just starting to slow down. All good. Love doing the letters for a change. Yeah. I don't know if that's sarcastic, Alison, or not, because you do a lot of letters in one way or another when you're in the club. Feeling calm, Penel. Good, even with the party going on. Still have pens and feeling calmer. Good. Okay, so sort of things that maybe starting to shift from when you sat down wondering what on earth we were going to do, how we actually get through this workbook, what I might get you to do. No, not sarcastic, I enjoy. Good. Okay, fantastic. So just very quickly back to the workbook just to show you where we're at now. So we've done our lovely letter forms, and now we are just starting to think about how we're going to put those letters together. So I've given you, it's 4 pages. So I mean, I always think it's nice to go through the seasons, because at one point or another we are in one of them. So it's nice anchor. It's quite a mindful thing to think about. And we can just pull ourselves into it using these words. thinking about how we're connecting them. So it's a great thing to play with. It may be that you want to do some intention setting around the season. It may be that you just want to have a word. I think often it's just going, right, what am I going to practice? So here are some things that you can practice. So we've got spring, summer, autumn, and winter for the seasons. And you'll see that there is a reference version with arrows just showing you the direction in which you're going. Just remember to lift. This doesn't show exactly where the lifts are. So I can do that in a minute, but just remembering to lift between every stroke and every letter. This is our traceable one. So on the left, it's the reference one in black with the red arrows, and then we've got our reference one, traceable one in grey on the right-hand side. Underneath each one, there is space to play and practice. So by that, I mean, have a go yourself. But if you've done a bit of calligraphy with me before, you'll know there's quite a few different ways in which you could create these words. These are very kind of standard brush script style. You might want to bounce it around. You might want to try extended style. You might want to have a go at creating a different variation of some of the letters. So it's up to you. That can be a real moment of kind of curiosity and play and seeing what happens, but it can also take your calligraphy into lots of lovely new places. So enjoy spending a little bit of time with these words and just enjoying a bit of practice. On the other side of the pages, you've got calm, peace, tranquil, and balance. So for those of you who maybe just having a go at this for the first time, calm is a lovely word to start with. It's got this lovely sort of ascending loop on the L. You can start with a nice big C. It brings through lots of the nice overturns and underturns that we like to do from the drills. So let's have a go at these. Maybe just start with summer and calm for the first couple of words that you do. And then if for those of you who have done quite a bit of calligraphy before, you could go on to tranquil, balance, you could try tranquility, or some other words that you might want to have a go at on your own. So summer, if you're doing this, I'll do it. Let's go through each one. So summer in pencil, we're tracing through and lifting. So there's a lift here, a lift here. And by lift, I just mean taking your pen or pencil off the paper. So that's an underturn, that's an underturn. There's that overturn. Compound curve. So there's lots of repetition in this one. And the more we can repeat with consistency, the better the calligraphy will look. So speed is everything here. So summer, that's just tracing with a single line all the way through with a biro. Why is it we always pick up a biro that isn't really working? It's always the way. Right, and then thickening up those down strokes. I'm just taking a little line out wider. And actually, if you thicken up as you go, because you could write this all out in monoline first and then come back through. As you go, you're actually encouraging yourself to lift as well. It's really easy to get the thicknesses a bit varied as well, so don't worry if you've got some thicker than others. If you can, try and get them as similar and consistent as possible. So that's with the biro. And then maybe you want to have a go with a different style. Maybe you've decided to play around with the connections or variations of some of the letters. So a little tuning into summer, a little bit of practice and play, and then picking a word, one of the calming words. Again, you can trace through the words, or you can copy out underneath, or both. So using the word calm, I'll start with the brush pen. Just looking out for those transitions where you're coming into thick and out of thick again. Maybe with the pencil you want to have a play around with bouncing some of this adding a bit of elegance to it. And just recreating, if you want to, some of those down strokes to create the look of a brush script. So this is what you might do on a window display, on using paint pens on ceramic surfaces or wood, or anything that you can't use a brush pen for. So faux calligraphy, this style of recreating those downstrokes, is an art form in itself. So don't feel that the faux calligraphy sounds like you're cheating or doing anything that isn't true calligraphy. You absolutely are. It's a beautiful way of lettering. So that's calm. How are you all getting on? I'm feeling concentrated. Good. Yeah, so focus coming through. Sorry, I missed that, Pavandeep. Hopefully you're still feeling like you're focusing really well. I don't know if anybody's noticed whether they're thinking about anything else, whether there's anything else kind of bubbling around in your mind, or actually if you've just not really thought about anything else. I think that's another huge benefit for me, is just quieting all those sort of chaotic thoughts that bubble around. And actually at the end of the day, it's always a great time for me because I've collected quite a lot of that. Has anybody enjoyed writing a particular word? Are you all just deep in the throes of creating now? Hold on, I'm gonna oh, lovely. Hang on. Let's see if Right, if anybody wants to. Right, Pinar, can you hear me? How are you two getting? Is there three of you or just one of you? There's three of you. Wonderful.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're on the big screen now. Sorry. I was just going to say, how are you guys getting on? Because it's a different environment for you three because you're all together. So there's a competitive side probably coming through.
No.
No,
Competitive.
we're all going at different paces and just chilling.
Good, good. Lovely to be doing it outside. What a great idea.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
really nice. And we've got some, I think it's Brazilian music on in the background.
Lovely. Oh,
Thank God for
perfect.
today.
Perfect. And you're all feeling fairly calm now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Working through it? Good, good, good. Oh, thank you. I picked on you. Does anybody else want to share anything? You're welcome to come off mute or pop something in the chat. Just let me know. So for those of you with brush pens, you're probably getting well into the kind of thicks and thins and the pressures on and off. And anybody using pencils, bullet tip pens, biros, whatever else you've got, just deciding really whether you want to do the thickening up of the downstrokes or just stick to monoline calligraphy where you're just recreating the shapes of the letters and not thinking about the pressure or the thick downstrokes. You're finding it calming, Pavandeep, wonderful. Taz, feeling very calm and happy, practicing after so long and getting a break from baby duties. Brilliant. Yeah, another brilliant reason to dip into calligraphy whenever you need to. Hopefully something that doesn't require a huge amount of setup. So when you do get those breaks between baby duties or anything else that kind of drags you away from getting a moment to yourself, I think calligraphy, just having a pen and paper near you is always handy. Alison, lovely and peaceful. Good, good. So some nice relaxing words coming through. Yeah, even with peaceful, you could say you've got some words here now. Calm, you could extend that to calming. Peace, you could extend that to peaceful. Again, tranquility into tranquil into tranquility. And balance, I thought I'd bring that through because I think there's something really nice about the word balance, especially when we're thinking about how busy our days are versus prioritizing how we're feeling, and maybe even a sense of sharing our time with others. I'm imagining a lot of you do a lot of caring for other people, whether it's little ones, older ones, partners, friends, family, all sorts of things. And so a lot of the time is spent looking after others and prioritizing others' well-being. And so bringing back this sort of sense of balance into your day, your week, your month, I think is really important without feeling like you shouldn't. So this is just one way, and there's lots of other kind of activities and things that you could do, other creative, mindful activities as well. And I hope that this just gives you a little bit of a flavor. I hope it gives you this sort of the workbook that you can come back to time and time again whenever you want to print it off, maybe even have a few of the pages ready to go with you. And given that we're about to hit kind of holiday season, I'm sure some of you will be getting away. So it's nice to even just pack it with you as you travel. And again, just having one or two pens with you that you might want to have a go at, practicing with. So keep going. as I say, you've got the drills that you can come back to if you've only got 2-3 minutes and just want to have a little bit of a play, making some marks, not really overthinking things with words and extra thoughts. The letters are always great to practice, because the more you can practice these, the more you've got them in your kind of arsenal, in your repertoire of things to pull out if you do suddenly decide to actually make calligraphy something that you want to produce something with. So a tag with somebody's name on, or a thank you card, or even just practicing to create some gift cards or something at some point. But really not overthinking this. This is coming back to the seasons, the calming words, just dipping into the practice of calligraphy rather than thinking, right, I've got to go off and create something huge. So ways that you can keep going, you could keep practicing with the workbook. And I think I'm just reminding you here really that there's making time to pause, even just for 5 minutes, can make a big difference in our busy and sometimes overwhelming days. I know for me, it's a bit of a godsend just to have something to do. I was going to say something to do with my hands, and I'm not making sense of that, but I think sometimes we're sort of put a lot of pressure on ourselves to rest and stop and do something for ourselves in our day. But I'm not very good at resting and sitting still, unless I'm staring at a screen, watching a film or something. But even then, I think having something to do to create, that pen to paper, that sense of creating is something really nice just to have up your sleeve. So keep going with it, make it something that you can dip into rather than something that's huge and overwhelming. And if you do want a space where you can come and do some more with us, then join the club. We've got a few members of the club here. I don't know if you want to say whether you enjoy it or not. I don't know. Do you? I know a few of you are with me on the long journey. Alison.
I just wanted to say it's brilliant. I love it, and it's such a peaceful time. We do so much, and you add so much value as well. So it's not just about coming for an hour a month. We have sessions like this. We have a catch up just in the middle of the month. We have challenges, which I love my challenges, and it just helps, and it's helped me get stronger in terms of calligraphy. So yeah, come and join us. It's brilliant.
Oh, Alison.
Thank you, Laura.
I promise I haven't paid her to say that at all. That's so nice of you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Much better coming from someone else than from me, because the whole reason that I started the club was to create a space where people could come and be together and geek out about pens and talk about paper, the thicknesses of paper, and in a space where there's lots of other people wanting to talk about it. And sometimes booking a workshop or booking a course is just, it's overwhelming and big and clunky and might not work for you. Whereas with the club, it's just ongoing. It's a space where you can dip into. If you're able to join the live sessions, great. The replays are there. And we meet, as Alison says, a couple of times a month, which is really nice. And just having a tribe of people around you to do this with. So thank you, Rachel. You agree with Alison. Laura is the best. Just put that as a strap line, I think. No, thank you so much. And if you've got any questions about the club, let me know. We've still got a few minutes. I'd love to know if you've got any questions about the workbook, calligraphy, workshops, who on earth I am. I don't know if I've explained anything properly, but if you want to connect or share any of your experiences from today, then do come and say hi on Instagram. So I'm at Laura Letters Live, and actually I don't talk about LinkedIn that much, but I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So if you are there and prefer to be there, then say hello to me. If you've got any questions that you suddenly go, oh, I should have asked that, and I didn't, then please drop me an email. You asking the questions means that somebody else probably has that question in their mind as well. And how do you look after your shoulders and neck? Excellent question. Excellent question, Panel. So you're all going, oh, yeah, it's an unusual one, isn't it? Because actually we spend a lot of our time like this. So then suddenly when you're leaning over, and especially if you, what I notice in the workshops that I do is people tend to get closer and closer to the paper throughout the session. So you're focusing down and down, down. I mean, take regular breaks, definitely just roll your shoulders and give yourself a little bit of a pause. But position is something that we actually go into a little bit of detail around, because there's different ways of sitting. Actually, if I take, separate this out. Don't know if you can see me more or less now, but if you sit on your side, you can actually get a really nice angle with your pen and paper. So it's more like this, and actually having your elbow on the table. You guys might be on a small table fighting each other for elbow room, but what having your elbow on the table makes a huge difference when you're doing the brush script, especially. So we talk a lot about the pressure coming through from your shoulder and not your wrist. So if you're pushing down on your wrist, then it's quite tricky to get your pen across the paper. So yeah, shoulders and neck is just being really gentle with it, and we allow quite a bit of time in some of the longer sessions for kind of standing up and moving around. But finding the right height chair, getting really comfortable, going back to that creative sanctuary that we talked about at the beginning, and just making sure that everything is feeling as comfortable as it can be, but making sure you take some breaks. Little yoga session in between. I hope that's helped. Great to get back to calligraphy. Thanks so much for your help, Laura. Welcome, Ali. It's been a long time. It's lovely to see you here. And yes, do ask any questions. Let me know how you're getting on with the words. I keep going to press end, and that's not what I mean to do. Stop share, that's the one. Let me know. Has anybody got any other questions? Thoughts, feelings? Maybe you're just making your way through the words. Well, I hope you have all had a lovely calming hour and found something that hopefully you can take forward and put into your self-care repertoire, or just a moment to pause. I'm pleased, Pavandeep. Lovely, lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you want to keep going, keep going. Don't let this be the end of it. Pinal and the party girls, keep going. Spend the day just writing calligraphy, each other's names. We should set you a challenge. But enjoy. And yeah, if you've got any questions, stay in touch and let me know how you get on. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Vivian. Bye,
Bye.
Alison. Thank you so much.
Ah.
Ali. Lovely to see you. Bye. Bye, Pavandeep. Bye, Rachel. Thank you.